thank you, friends. Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. We had the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. How many more survivors do you think there are? How many will there be next year or the year after? Every year, there are fewer and fewer. Soon there'll be none. And then history will be completely rewritten and never again becomes any time at all. Currently, almost 50% of the Jews in the UK feel unwelcome and debate leaving. And the feelings of not being wanted are spreading throughout Europe like the wildfires of California. Now, this was an opportunity for the world to not just honor the 6 million, but to take a stand against this rising tide of anti-Semitism. Sadly, the silence is deafening. The Jewish people were finally granted a home, and none of their neighbors want them to stay there. In fact, their neighbors have gone to great pains to eliminate the Jews from their lands. Israel was recognized in 1948, and at that time, there were 265,000 Jews in Morocco. In 2024, there were less than 2,000. In Egypt, there were 75,000. Now it's been reduced to 40. Libya had 38,000. Now none. Syria had 40,000. Now none. Iraq had 150,000. Now none. Yemen had 55,000. Now there's 50. Algeria and Tunisia, 140,000, 150,000, and now 50 each. At the same time, the Arab population of Israel went from 156,000 to 2,178,000. Who welcomes who? We must fight to keep Israel alive and thrive as a continual home to a shrinking Jewish world. The blind hatred, persecution, and fear must stop. And the call for it to end must be louder than the call for its death. It's not louder. And when the mirror of self is examined, where will the free nations of the earth see themselves? Where would the world be without the efforts and influence of the Jewish people? We all know the scientific advances, but some of the greatest stories from our childhoods and the youth of man were written by or inspired by Jews, and we only know them as stories. And these are the ones from the 20th century. We don't know them where they came from. Paddington Bear was inspired when its author witnessed the Jewish refugee children arriving in London in World War II with name tags around their necks and little cases or packages containing their treasures. Bambi was written by a Jewish journalist fleeing persecution. It was seen as a parable about the inhumane treatment of Jews. And Curious George was written by a Jewish couple also fleeing the Nazis on homemade bikes. Now, kids and adults the world over have loved these books, characters, films, without knowing from whence they came. The time has come, my friends, to take a stance. And it is a perfect time with the new year. Speaking of which, how's your celebration going? Everyone should be blessed with happiness, health, love, and prosperity, and I hope you all made wishes. Another new year, another new day, another new time, another new way. But is it ever any different? Any different? I want to know. You know, friends, only you can make it different. If every day of every year is the same, you've only lived one day. There's 365 days in a year, 365 opportunities for you to shine, to live your life as you want, as it was meant to be. Enjoy and celebrate your life as it was meant. One of the other ways we celebrate is when we come together as a like-minded group, collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, love, any and all faith, any and all love, because we welcome everybody, because we come together as a community, a fellowship, a chavura, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes, because it unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though we're together, we're all individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her, their own way. So once again, please do go ahead. Invite everybody, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all to gather and share. From Psalm 133, V'hinei B'tov, come together. Hinei B'tov. shevet achim gam yah. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yah. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Because we support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your kavana, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. And goodwill and intention are the roots of what you can control, of what you can correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. And it's goodwill, energy, light that we send to help heal whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal is for everyone because it floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know, for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people, it's for our pets, it's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. It is the tikkun olam that's part of our spiritual genetic makeup, because we are destined to heal the world. A part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. And it is often said as the prayer for the sick, but it can be for anybody you want to send goodwill to. So let's all send energy for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always for those in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them, because we want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. Let's continue to send healing energy for the hostages, still held, still in prison, still languishing in their pits of despair. Let us demand they all be free. For those closer to us, for Alan and Rosanna, for Charles and Miriam, for Callie and Carson, for Amin, AJ, Gabby, Trevor, for Jess and Terry and Snoopy, for the 279, for Dave and Sabrina, for Maria and Paul, for Pam and Marlu, Shelley, Lucy, Gloria, for Winston and Ierna, for dear Alana, for Fern and Johnny and Kathleen, Carla and Mina, for John and Maria, for dear Doria, for Connie, for Ronnie, for Tally and Mayim, for Nina and birthday boy Danny, and all those suffering and in need. I received a request from our dear friend Kay asking us to pray for Igal, the husband of a friend seeking the Lord's mercy. And we do pray for those. We pray for all in need of healing, wherever they are, wherever they are. And let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everyone you know in need, for the whole world, for darling Devorah. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Avotenu Makor Limotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say Amen, Mishaberach. Let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Mishaberach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. We all want renewal. We all want happiness. We all want to be the best we can be, and the best we can be for our own families. Now, speaking with a dear friend who I've known for more years than I have a right to remember. I knew him as a child. I watched them with their family, their kids, their parents. He wanted to thank me for something I told him many, many years ago when we were talking about how he grew up, which was not the best, and the efforts he made with his young kids, so different than his past. He lacked a decent role model. I told him, be the person you needed when you were growing up. And he said he did, and he never forgot that. And he helped himself and his young family. I also reminded him he should focus on what he can control. Let the rest go. We often still worry about things that are beyond our control, when there is nothing we can do about those. I even find myself doing that occasionally. Who doesn't? Even though I know better, sometimes our minds wander off in their own capacities based on old programming and habits. And we are actually going to see some of that today as we conclude the introduction this week as we read Bo, come. And interesting enough, it can be one of those words like shalom with more than one meaning. This one can mean come and go, which are kind of opposite, but not here. Like, we don't confuse she's leaving home with come together. We know what we mean. But here, the confusion is simply the result of circumstance of translation and meaning. Exodus 10:1, and the Lord said to Moses, come to Pharaoh, because I've made his heart and his servant's heart heavy, for the purpose of my setting these signs of mine among them, and for the purpose that you will tell in the ears of your son and your son's son about how I abused Egypt and about my signs that I set among them. And you will know that I am the Lord. Come to Pharaoh, go to Pharaoh. Not really different in this case, although the come suggests God is there also waiting. So here we go again, told the course of events and purpose. God causes Pharaoh to not let the people go. In fact, on several occasions, Pharaoh relents, says go, but God stops it. It's not for punishment. It's not for poor treatment. It's not punishment of slavery. It's not even karma. It's simply for the purpose of God demonstrating power and introducing himself to the world. Here we see Moses is filling a role. God's orchestrating the entire series of events. He's determined what Moses is going to say and how Pharaoh will react and what he will do. The great playwright has determined the script. So Moses is now summoned to Pharaoh, and according to history, they were family. They would know and understand each other. The relationship between them would be fascinating. They would have been raised together. We know they haven't seen each other in 40 years because they've been split apart. Both are being tools of God at this particular moment. Now, family is family. And we just automatically love to see family, whether it's 20 years later, 30 years, 40 years later. But we never get to see the closeness of prior history. They are simply now fulfilling important jobs in God's introduction to the world. They were family, they were friends. Sometimes our family is not our friends. You've got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend. When I was down, just stood there grinning. You've got a lot of nerve to say you got a helping hand to lend. You just wanna be on the side that's winning. Now, with what we're about to witness, there are no winners. Now, we now have our last three plagues. Really, they're the big three. Not that the first seven are anything to scoff at. And including with them is a great fallacy buried in there, which we're going to see. So this week we have locusts. Locusts bring devastation. They contribute nothing. They decimated everything that was left. We have darkness, a darkness that was palpable. We finally had the death of the firstborn. Purposed mass execution, not firstborn Egyptians, firstborn in Egypt for everyone who did not have the blood of the sacrifice on the doorposts and lintels, the vaccine passport of ancient times. But we also see that there's different ways to die. Now you can overcome the plagues of life. Continue to let the growing light into your lives. So let's take a look at these three. The eighth plague was locusts, Rabbi. Exodus 10:12, and the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt, for the locusts, that it may come up over the land and consume all the grass of the land that the hail left behind. And it covered the eye of the land, and the land went dark, consumed all the grass of the land, every fruit of the tree that the hail had left, and nothing green in tree or grass or field was left in all the land of Egypt. There were so many locusts you could not see anything else. And that's a lot of locusts. And here's another swarming creature. 2 of them in 10 plagues. These doubles tell you something. This warning is of the great danger of the swarming mass. Locusts contribute nothing. They're the worst kind of natural disaster, and there's some communities that are considered locusts because they simply feed off what others produce and produce nothing of their own. They only bring devastation. We had learned that doubles, name-calling dreams, have great meaning. And here we have 2 similar plagues which deal with swarms. In our modern life, the swarm is the mob. Beware the mob mentality, my friends. You can be swept up in it. You can be the victim of it. We continue to see examples of both every day. Well, each locust can actually eat its weight in plants each day, and a swarm is about 460 square miles and contains anywhere from 40 to 80 million locusts. So a swarm could eat 423 million pounds of plants every day. And we're told that the swarm of locusts is so great you can't see the land anymore. I remember when I was in Dubai, in the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, I was looking down. There was nothing but desert all around. There on the window was a locust, and I immediately thought of this plague. The question I asked myself, and I invite all of you to ask, do you contribute and produce? Do you feed off of others? Now this plague was enough. Pharaoh actually wants to let them go now, but he cannot. Not because he does not want to. No, he does. But his heart is hardened, and the locusts destroy what's left, after which God sends the locusts away because, Moses intervenes. There's nothing left in this country. But God's not finished with his introduction. So Pharaoh calls Moses and says he sinned against God, which means he knows who God is. And he says to Moses, will you intercede on my behalf? Then you can tell by the back and forth that Pharaoh knows the God Moses serves. Moses does. He asked God to get rid of the locust. And the Lord turned back a very strong west wind, picked up the locust swarm, blew it to the Red Sea. Not one locust was left in all of Egypt's border. But it goes on. And the Lord strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go. And the Lord said to Moses, reach out your hand at the skies. Let there be darkness on the land of Egypt. One will feel the darkness. Choshech, darkness. A darkness that was so palpable. The 9th plague is one of those weighty plagues that represents the undoing of creation. Remember, the first thing we saw created was light. Now that is going to be taken away. The plague of darkness. And there's such darkness you can't see your hand in front of your face. That level of darkness leaves you afraid to move. In darkness, our eyes adjust. We could still see, but not this time. This is the darkness of pure blindness. Right? And this plague strikes at the 3rd of the 3 Thanksgiving prayers. Drink and food have already been struck. And now candle lighting. That we thank God for giving us fire, light to see. Light conquers fear. When we see, we do not fear. Well, now there's no light. In so many ways, this plague is still the most prevalent in people's lives. How many of us still live in darkness? What is it that we refuse to see? Do we fear the light because it hurts our eyes? What can each of us do to help bring more light to to ourselves and to the world. Because we can certainly start by bringing light into our own lives. Shadows are falling. Been here all day. Too hard to sleep. Time is running away. Feel like my soul has turned into steel. Still got the scars that the sun did kneel. Not even room enough be anywhere. Not dark yet, but it's getting there. Pardon me, now darkness. Now, Not Dark Yet is certainly the most Talmudic of all Dylan songs. It's taken from the Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers. Fantastic book. But we're not quite finished. There's still one more plague, the final plague. Purposed mass execution, death of the firstborn. Makat Becharot. Exodus 11:1. And the Lord said to Moses, I'll bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he'll let you go from here. When he lets go completely, he'll drive you out from here. It just goes so against what will be the sixth commandment forbidding murder, the intentional taking of life. Doesn't seem right. And Moses said, the Lord said this, in the middle of the night, I am going throughout Egypt. Now notice the I am going through Egypt. God himself, later Jewish tradition, presumably unable to bear the thought of God personally passing through Egypt and causing the death, introduced the concept of the angel of death. But there's no such thing as an angel of death in the Bible. There's no prejudice in this. It's not random, it's targeted, not by race, sex, belief, any of those things. Exodus 11:5. Every firstborn in the land of Egypt will die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh, who's sitting on the throne, to the firstborn of the maid who's behind the mill, and every firstborn of an animal. Still, God will control. He will make this happen regardless. Exodus 11:9. And the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh won't listen to you. In order to multiply my wonders in the land of Egypt. And the Lord strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go forth from his land. You know, in life there's certain things that occur which we find distasteful, morally repugnant, unworthy of humanity. This kind of execution was one. The Holocaust was one. But there are certain things that go against our moral compasses and we don't like them. And we try and explain them away. Or we come up with reasons for them. We do not like that the Egyptians would kill Abraham to get Sarah. So it's okay to lie. Except we know that never really happened. We don't like Esau's nastiness, so we side with Jacob and overlook all the horrible things he does. Except there's nothing pointing to the negativity of Esau anywhere. Only of Jacob. We do not like God doing the killing of the firstborn, so we make an angel of death. Later, we're not going to like Moses ordering the genocide of Moab and Midian, so we make them enemies and deserving of eradication. Do not go against your moral compass, my friends. It is your true north. We each have one. Find yours. Let it guide you. It happened at midnight that the Lord struck down the firstborn in the land of Egypt. From the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on the throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and every firstborn of the beasts. But friends, death takes many forms. We all know people whose spirit has died. They just go through the motions of life. Sometimes it's because of hardships. Sometimes it's because their own spirits have been crushed, ridiculed, scorned. Ask yourself, where have I crushed another? Where have I been crushed? Where have I been encouraging? Where have I been encouraged? These are the 10 plagues, the calling card of God. These are God's introduction to the world. These are the plagues we still face each day of our lives, my friends, and we can each do something about every one of them. We can ensure they are not part of us anymore. The Hebrew term for the exodus from Egypt is Yetzi at Mitzrayim, the going out from constraint. Let us all leave the land of constraint that still holds you. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free. Honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everyone you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace, freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. We are a community, my friends. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavana, our cause or effect, it's all linked. You have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But always do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? Because if you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being. Keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because it's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, aware, present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. We usually don't know. Continue to explore faith and belief, and never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other, because we're each of us trying to find love and acceptance. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives. Find them. Tell them what they mean. You are never alone on your journey. Listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they talks to you. And remember your connection to God and all he's created in body and soul. It's part of you, it's part of me, it's part of all of us forever. Listen to the voice of God. He's talking to you all the time. Get ready for the new you, because you are changing every day. The time of God is his own time. It's been a long time coming. Gonna be a long time coming. But you know, the darkest hour is always just before the dawn. And it appears to be a long time. Appears to be a long. Appears to be a long time. It's a long, long, long time before the dawn. Have a great week, my friends. a great year. I'll see you all soon, and I hope you all continue to celebrate all of the miracles of life, because there's miracles all the time. Shabbat Shalom, and blessings to you all. Take care.